Rising quietly but powerfully at 298 meters, or 977 feet, 4. World Trade Center stands American Samoa, one of the most elegant skyscrapers in Manhattan's financial district. Often overshadowed by its taller siblings in the World Trade Center complex, this building carries a story rooted in rebirth, precision, and minimalist beauty. Completed in 2013, it was the first tower to be finished on the original Ground Zero site after the tragic events of September 11, 2001. Its completion wasn't just a construction milestone, it was a symbolic turning point in New York's journey of healing. Designed by renowned Japanese architect Fumihiko Maki, the building emphasizes simplicity and serenity. Its shimmering glass facade almost disappears into the sky, reflecting the clouds, the surrounding towers, and even the mood of the city. World Trade Center rises from the very footprint of the former South Tower, standing in quiet tribute to what was lost. Its position at the southeastern corner of the World Trade Center site makes it feel like a guardian at the edge of memory and modernity. Inside, the tower offers nearly 2.5 million square feet of office space, occupied by tenants like the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. But beyond functionality, it was built with intention to not overshadow the 9/11's memorial, to let light and openness flow around the site, and to respect the emotional weight of its location. One interesting feature of 4 World Trade Center is its knife-edged eastern corner. Unlike the solid blocks common in Manhattan architecture, this building slices into the skyline with precision. From certain angles, it almost vanishes into the sky, creating an optical illusion that it's not quite there. Some even call it the invisible tower of Lower Manhattan. There's a subtle myth among some visitors, that the building's minimalist look was intended to be ghost-like, a glassy apparition guarding the memory of what once stood here. Whether intentional or not, that ghostliness only adds to its contemplative presence. Though it doesn't boast spires or observation decks like some of its neighbors, 4 World Trade Center holds its ground through quiet strength. It doesn't shout. It doesn't demand attention. Instead, it reflects, and in that reflection, New Yorkers see loss, recovery, and the city's unbreakable spirit. In the skyline of Lower Manhattan, 4 World Trade Center is a modern monument not just to architecture, but to resilience. At 306 meters tall, or 1,005 feet, ONE57 was once the tallest residential building in New York City. Completed in 2014, this ultra-luxury skyscraper redefined the skyline of Midtown and helped usher in a new era of super tall towers lining the edge of Central Park. Often nicknamed the Billionaire Building, ONE57 was the first major residential tower to rise on what's now known as Billionaires Row, an elite stretch along 57th Street catering to the world's ultra-wealthy. With its sleek, rippling glass facade designed by Christian de Port-Samparc, the building was envisioned to resemble a cascading waterfall. From the street, its shape stands out. It doesn't just rise, it flows. But ONE57 is more than just luxury real estate. It marked a turning point in New York's architectural and social history. Its completion signaled the beginning of a global investment wave into Manhattan's skyline. Buyers came from all corners of the world, many seeking a secure asset rather than a permanent home. Stories emerged of entire floors bought as safe deposits in the sky, often left unoccupied. One of the most talked about sales in ONE57 was the $100 million penthouse purchased in 2015. At the time, it was the most expensive residential sale in New York history. The buyer? A mysterious billionaire from tech circles, some say a hedge fund titan, others claim it was a foreign prince. His identity remains a whisper on Park Avenue. But with this new era of super luxury came controversy. Critics argued that ONE57 represented inequality in physical form, a vertical monument to wealth, casting literal shadows across Central Park. Some locals referred to it not as a home, but as a safe haven for invisible millionaires, a place where the lights were off more often than on. Even stranger, 2 accidents during construction seemed to curse the tower in its early days. A crane collapsed during Hurricane Sandy in 2012, dangling precariously above the city for days. The image went viral. Another fire broke out shortly after. For some, it felt like the building didn't want to be built, an omen ignored in the rush to the sky. Despite the drama, ONE57 remains an icon. It helped spark a new architectural race in Manhattan, one that led to even taller, thinner towers rising in its wake. But ONE57 will always be the pioneer, the first to climb beyond 1,000 feet for residential living, and the symbol of a new skyline shaped by silent owners, global wealth, and cutting-edge design. From the sidewalk, it may look like a ripple of glass. From the sky, it's a stake in the heart of Midtown, bold and unapologetically rich. Standing 308.4 meters tall, or 1,011 feet, 35 Hudson Yards is more than just a skyscraper, it's a bold statement in stone and glass. Completed in 2019, this tower is part of the massive Hudson Yards development, the largest private real estate project in U.S. history. Built on top of an active rail yard, this entire neighborhood rose from what was once considered unusable industrial land. And at its heart, 35 Hudson Yards rises like a sculpted monolith. Designed by David Childs of Skidmore, Owings and Merrill, the same architect behind One World Trade Center, the building is unmistakably elegant. Unlike the shimmering glass of nearby towers, 35 Hudson Yards is clad in warm limestone and bronze, giving it a timeless, almost classical look. It's a tower built not just for the modern skyline, but for legacy. What makes this building special isn't just its height or style, it's what's inside. 35 Hudson Yards combines ultra-luxury residences, high-end retail, a flagship Equinox fitness club, and the first ever Equinox hotel. It's a vertical lifestyle hub where residents can sleep in a 5-star suite, get a massage on the 24th floor, take a swim under the skyline, and dine at the city's trendiest restaurants without ever leaving the building. But the story behind the tower goes deeper. When Hudson Yards was first announced, skeptics called it too ambitious and soulless. They questioned whether New Yorkers would embrace a brand new neighborhood built for the ultra-rich. Yet when 35 Hudson Yards opened, units began selling at record prices. Billionaires and celebrities quietly moved in. Rumors suggest a few tech moguls purchased multiple units, one for living, one for staff, and one just for entertaining. There's also a whispered myth that circulates among real estate watchers that 35 Hudson Yards was designed with secret panic rooms hidden inside some of its penthouses, a reflection of its clientele's desire for absolute privacy and security. True or not, it adds to the mystique of a building that feels more fortress than condo. What's also fascinating is its place in a changing New York. This isn't the old money Manhattan of Park Avenue. This is the new frontier built for power players who fly in on private jets, work in fintech or AI, and see property less as a home and more as a global asset. 35 Hudson Yards reflects that mindset: efficient, luxurious, and above all, exclusive. It may not carry the name recognition of the Empire State Building or the romantic charm of the Chrysler, but 35 Hudson Yards signals the future. A future where cities build upward, luxury becomes seamless, and urban life exists above the clouds. Rising 319 meters, or 1,046 feet into the Midtown skyline, the New York Times building is more than just an office tower. It's a modern monument to journalism, free speech, and the ever-evolving spirit of New York City. Completed in 2007, the building was designed by world-renowned architect Renzo Piano in collaboration with Sval Architects. Its clean, minimalist form is wrapped in a distinctive ceramic rod screen, a veil of white rods that reduce heat and glare while giving the facade a shimmering, almost pixelated texture. From a distance, it seems to flicker in the light, like newsprint shifting in the wind. But this isn't just a building for aesthetic appreciation. It was created as the global headquarters of the New York Times, one of the most influential newspapers in the world. The Times wanted a space that reflected its values: transparency, accuracy, and public service. That's why the building is designed to feel open and light-filled, with massive glass panes revealing the newsroom within. The message is clear: this is journalism in plain view. One of the lesser-known stories behind the building is that it sits on what used to be a gritty block near Times Square, filled with parking lots and nondescript buildings. When the Times decided to relocate here, it was a statement reclaiming the neighborhood that once bore its name, and investing in a cleaner, more civic-minded Midtown. Inside, the building is as precise as the headlines it helps produce. The open-plan newsroom encourages collaboration, and an internal stairwell known as the communicating stair was designed to foster conversation between departments. Even the lobby has no retail, no flashy distractions, just a public garden visible from the street, offering a moment of calm in a chaotic city. But for all its transparency, myths have surrounded the tower. One rumor claims that a secret editorial bunker exists in the lower levels, designed for use during emergencies or attacks, a modern-day version of the Cold War media shelter. Another tale speaks of a mysterious ghost floor, never occupied, left untouched in tribute to journalists who lost their lives pursuing the truth. Neither has ever been confirmed. In 2008, a French urban climber named Elaine Robert scaled the building using the ceramic rods as a ladder, protesting global warming and drawing attention to the building's unique vertical grid. That act added a layer of public curiosity and controversy to a tower often viewed as coldly corporate. Today, the New York Times building stands as both a workplace and a symbol. In a world of misinformation and digital noise, it reminds passers-by of the enduring need for clarity, investigation, and truth. It may not be the most flamboyant building in the skyline, but its quiet presence carries weight and its purpose echoes far beyond its walls. At 319 meters tall, or 1,046 feet, the Chrysler Building is one of the most iconic and beloved skyscrapers in the world. Though no longer the tallest, it remains among the most admired, often described not just as a building, but as a piece of sculpture towering over Manhattan. Completed in 1930, the Chrysler Building is a masterwork of Art Deco architecture. It was designed by architect William Van Allen for Walter P. Chrysler, the founder of the Chrysler Corporation. At the time, the goal was clear: create the tallest building in the world as a symbol of American ambition and industrial power. For a few months, it succeeded, overtaking 40 Wall Street until the Empire State Building claimed the title shortly after. Its most famous feature is the crown, a dazzling stainless steel spire that bursts into the sky in a series of radiating arches, triangular windows, and sunburst patterns. This crown isn't just beautiful, it was a secret weapon. As part of a dramatic race to be the world's tallest, Van Allen had the spire constructed in secret inside the tower's frame, and then hoisted it into place in just 90 minutes. It was a bold architectural ambush that stunned the city and secured the title, at least briefly. The building's exterior is a love letter to the machine age. Look closely and you will see sculpted hubcaps, fenders, and hood ornaments, design motifs taken directly from Chrysler automobiles of the 1920s. The eagle gargoyles on the corners of the 61st floor were inspired by the Chrysler hood ornament. Even the radiator caps and winged emblems are built into the facade, making the tower feel like a skyscraper carved from chrome and speed. Inside, the lobby is just as grand. Lined with red Moroccan marble, African wood, and decorative ceiling murals, it radiates the glamour of a bygone era. It was a skyscraper built not just to dominate the skyline, but to inspire awe from the ground floor up. Over the years, the Chrysler Building has inspired myths and mysteries. One rumor claims that secret rooms exist at the very top of the spire, unused and inaccessible, left as a kind of urban attic. Others say that Walter Chrysler had a private office hidden near the crown, reserved for moments of solitude and reflection. No such office has ever been confirmed, but the stories live on. Although it has changed hands many times, bought and sold by corporations, developers, and foreign investors, the Chrysler Building has never lost its soul. It is a symbol not of wealth, but of wonder. A reminder of when the city reached for the skies not just with height, but with imagination. Unlike newer glass towers, the Chrysler Building doesn't disappear into the skyline, it defines it. It remains one of New York's greatest architectural achievements, a glittering needle pointing to the future while firmly rooted in the golden age of American design. At 320 meters, or 1,050 feet, 53W53, also known as the MoMA Expansion Tower, cuts a sharp, angular figure in the Midtown skyline. Unlike the boxy, uniform towers that surround it, 53W53 is an architectural rebel. It tapers as it rises, its diagrid steel frame exposed in jagged patterns, forming an instantly recognizable silhouette. This tower is not just a skyscraper, it's a sculpture in the sky. Designed by famed French architect Jean Nouvel, 53W53 was conceived as an extension of the Museum of Modern Art, both in concept and in physical space. Its bold structure, angular form, and modernist ambition make it feel like a skyscraper version of a MoMA exhibit, experimental, daring, and unapologetically abstract. Completed in 2019 after more than a decade of design revisions and zoning battles, the building houses 145 ultra-luxury residences, many of which span entire floors. Interiors were crafted with museum-quality finishes, and some apartments even include private galleries. As part of its unique integration with the Museum of Modern Art, residents get special privileges, including exclusive access to events, private tours, and even their own entrance to the museum through a concealed corridor. But despite its artistic roots, the tower sparked plenty of debate. When first proposed, 53W53 was nicknamed the Towerver, or the Glass Tower. Critics questioned its scale, fearing it would overshadow MoMA and cast long shadows on Central Park. For years, the design was scaled down, debated, and even ridiculed. But Nouvel held his ground, and in the end, the tower's full ambition was realized, making it one of the boldest additions to Manhattan's skyline in the 21st century. The building's diagrid frame isn't just a design choice, it's structural. Those sharp, crisscrossing lines allow the tower to stand without needing internal columns, giving residents sweeping, unobstructed views of the city. But these dark lines also created an urban myth. Some believe the design is symbolic, a coded reference to shattered glass, as if the tower itself were slicing through the air. Others say the building's sharp taper was meant to resemble a shard of obsidian or a broken sword, a quiet rebellion against the orderly corporate towers of Midtown. There's even a whispered legend that one of the upper penthouses was purchased anonymously by a prominent art collector who keeps an original Picasso inside, hung in a room with no windows, never shown to guests, never listed in public collections. In a tower so connected to modern art, such a rumor feels strangely believable. Today, 53W53 stands not just as a luxury residence, but as a vertical museum companion rising from the heart of New York's cultural district. It's a bold reminder that architecture can be more than shelter. It can challenge, provoke, and redefine the skyline, not with size alone, but with vision. 279 feet. 3. World Trade Center rises with striking symmetry and steel precision from the heart of Lower Manhattan. But this isn't just another skyscraper. It's part of a deeply symbolic rebuilding effort, one born from tragedy, resilience, and the unyielding spirit of New York City. Designed by British architect Richard Rogers. 3. World Trade Center opened Indiana 2018. With its shimmering glass facade and exoskeletal steel bracing, the tower is both elegant and engineered with strength in mind. It stands tall on the site where destruction once shook the world, occupying a key position in the new World Trade Center complex. The original 3 World Trade Center was a hotel once known as the Marriott World Trade Center. On the morning of September 11, 2001, it was nestled between the Twin Towers. When they collapsed, the hotel was completely destroyed, becoming one of the lesser-known structures lost that day. The current tower, then, is not just a new address, it's a rebirth. What sets this tower apart is its structural transparency. The architects intentionally designed it to feel open and welcoming, a gesture of confidence rather than fear. Floor-to-ceiling glass windows offer sweeping views of the Hudson River and the Statue of Liberty. The steel braces forming X-shaped patterns on the exterior are both decorative and essential, representing a union of beauty and resilience. Construction wasn't easy. For years, the site sat partially completed, as financial uncertainty and design changes stalled progress. There were moments when many doubted whether 3 World Trade Center would ever be finished. But when it finally opened, it did so as a powerful symbol not just of recovery, but of transformation. Inside, the building now hosts major financial firms and tech companies, a nod to New York's evolving economy. It also connects directly to the Oculus transportation hub below, uniting thousands of commuters with the rest of the city. Urban legends surround the tower, as they often do in places heavy with history. Some say that during early construction, strange audio glitches were picked up on communication devices, ghostly echoes of police radio transmissions from 2001. Others believe that certain steel beams from the original towers were silently embedded into the foundation of the new buildings as an unspoken tribute. Officially, these are only stories, but in a place shaped by memory, even whispers carry weight. World Trade Center is not the tallest tower in New York, nor the flashiest. But its very presence carries profound meaning. It stands beside One World Trade Center not as a shadow, but as a sibling. It reminds us that cities fall and cities rise. And when they do, they often come back stronger, prouder, and more determined than before. To a height of 366 meters, or 1,200 feet, the Bank of America Tower is one of New York's most ambitious skyscrapers, not just for its size, but for what it stands for. Located at 1 Bryant Park in Midtown Manhattan, this shimmering glass tower isn't only a financial hub. It's a statement of innovation, sustainability, and the evolving face of corporate architecture. Completed in 2009 and designed by Koch Fox Architects, the Bank of America Tower was the first skyscraper of its scale in the United States to achieve LEED Platinum certification. At the time, that was unheard of for a commercial high-rise. Everything about the tower was engineered for energy efficiency, from its floor-to-ceiling insulated glass that maximizes daylight, to its on-site cogeneration plant that produces much of the building's own electricity. Even its plumbing is forward-thinking. Rainwater is harvested and recycled to flush toilets and cool the building, while air filtering systems purify the indoor atmosphere, making it one of the healthiest places to work in New York. The result is a structure often referred to as the Green Giant of Manhattan, a place where commerce and ecology are meant to coexist. But beneath the sustainability accolades lies a building woven into the urban legends of Midtown. Because of its location just steps from Bryant Park and the New York Public Library, there have been whispers of secret tunnels running beneath the tower, allegedly connecting it to the old pneumatic mail systems or Cold War-era bunkers. While no solid evidence supports this, the myths add intrigue to a tower that might otherwise seem purely modern. Its angular glass crown and glowing spire have drawn both admiration and debate. Some critics called it too boxy or generic during construction, but over time, it's become a symbol of forward-looking architecture in a city often obsessed with the past. And at night, when its spire glows above the park, few deny its elegance. Inside, the building houses Bank of America's New York headquarters, along with numerous trading floors, conference centers, and even a public lobby that features curated artwork. It's a rare blend of high finance and public engagement. There's even an urban legend that one of the upper floors has a meditation room designed by a Zen architect, though it's never been photographed or publicly confirmed. The tower also played a quiet but critical role during the 2008 financial crisis. While the economy was collapsing and trust in major institutions was eroding, this building was still rising, symbolizing resilience and a cautious optimism about the future. For Bank of America, it became a flagship of stability. Today, the Bank of America Tower is not just a skyscraper, but a signpost. It marks a shift in how we think about tall buildings, not just as icons of power, but as engines for sustainability, designed with both people and the planet in mind. In a city that constantly reinvents itself, this tower shows that progress and responsibility can rise together, story by story, floor by floor. Standing 381 meters tall, or 1,250 feet to its roof, and even taller with its antenna, the Empire State Building is more than a skyscraper. It's a cultural monument, a symbol of New York. And for decades, it was the tallest building on Earth. Construction began in 1930, during the depths of the Great Depression. Amazingly, the tower was completed in just 13 months, an almost impossible pace even by today's standards. Over 3,400 workers, many of them immigrants and Mohawk iron workers from Canada, built it floor by floor, day by day. It topped out in 1931, an act of defiance against despair, showing the world that New York still had ambition. Originally commissioned by former General Motors executive John J. Raskob, The Empire State Building was born from a challenge to build something taller than the Chrysler Building, which had just briefly held the title of tallest. The race wasn't just architectural, it was personal. Raskob asked, "How high can you make it so that it won't fall over?" The result became a legend. For more than 40 years, the Empire State Building reigned as the tallest in the world. It survived war, weather, and even a plane crash. In 1945, a U.S. Army B-25 bomber, flying in dense fog, struck the 79th floor. 14 people died, but the building withstood the impact, cementing its reputation as indestructible. Throughout the 20th century, it became a backdrop for movies, music, and myth. It was here that King Kong climbed, swatting at fighter planes. Lovers met at the observation deck in An Affair to Remember and again in Sleepless in Seattle. Its Art Deco spire became a beacon, glowing in different colors to honor everything from national holidays to sports victories. But the Empire State Building also has its secrets. One of the most enduring myths is that it has its own zip code 10001. That's not quite true. That code belongs to the surrounding area. Another tale claims that on very clear days, you can see 6 states from the observation deck. That, surprisingly, is true. And there's more. Some say there's a hidden 103rd floor above the observatory used only for special guests, press, and celebrities. There's no signage and no public elevator to get there. Just a narrow staircase and a locked door that leads to a railed perch with views even higher than the typical visitor ever sees. Today, the Empire State Building is a certified green building, retrofitted with energy-saving systems, but it hasn't lost its soul. It's still one of the most visited places in the city, welcoming millions each year who come to experience its history, views, and magic. From office tower to pop culture icon, the Empire State Building has outlasted the skyline that once dwarfed it. It's not just a structure, it's a story. One that rises with the city, stands through its storms, and watches over it all, one sunrise at a time. Rising to 387.1 meters, or 1,268 feet, 30 Hudson Yards is more than just one of New York City's tallest buildings. It is the crown jewel of the most ambitious private real estate development in American history. Hudson Yards. Located on Manhattan's once underused West Side, this skyscraper helped transform old rail yards into a glittering vertical city. Completed in 2019 and designed by the global architecture firm Kohn Pedersen Fox, 30 Hudson Yards stands as a monument to the city's future. Its slanted, faceted glass design gives the tower a dynamic profile, one that catches sunlight in constantly shifting angles. The structure houses offices for major companies like Warner Brothers, Discovery, and Wells Fargo, but it's most famous for what juts out from its upper floor's edge, the highest outdoor sky deck in the Western Hemisphere. Edge is not for the faint of heart. Suspended more than 335 meters above the street, it extends 24 meters out from the building, with a glass floor that lets visitors look straight down at the city below. Its angled glass walls and open-air design deliver one of the most dramatic skyline experiences in New York. The sensation of floating above the city is unforgettable and slightly terrifying. What's fascinating is that this modern marvel was built above a functioning train yard. To support the massive weight of the towers, engineers constructed a platform over the active tracks of Penn Station. They threaded deep pilings between moving trains, redirecting heat and air to avoid cooking the roots of the landscaped parks above. It's a marvel of engineering as much as design. Stories quickly emerged about the unusual silence of the upper floors. Some workers say that, despite being in the heart of Manhattan, the tower's design creates an eerie calm at its highest levels, almost as if you've stepped out of the city altogether. There are also whispers of a private club hidden near the top floors, offering billionaire tenants more than just views. Rumors mention bespoke whiskey lockers, secret entrances, and even art auctions behind closed doors. None of this is publicly confirmed, but it adds a certain mystique to a building already full of spectacle. Then there's the tale of the spire. During the final stages of construction, a small American flag was attached to the tip as a traditional topping-off gesture. But as legend goes, a storm rolled in just hours later, and the flag disappeared. Some say it was removed for safety. Others believe it was taken by a daredevil construction worker who wanted a piece of the city's highest point for himself. Either way, the story lives on. Today, 30 Hudson Yards is not just a tall building, it's a symbol of bold reinvention. In a city known for constantly tearing down and building up, this tower didn't replace the past. It built a new future above it. With its sharp lines, daring deck, and soaring ambition, it reminds New Yorkers and the world that the sky is not the limit. It's only the beginning. At 425.5 meters, or 1,396 feet, 432 Park Avenue is one of the tallest residential buildings in the Western Hemisphere. Located along Manhattan's Billionaires Row, this towering structure is impossible to miss. Its minimalist grid design, square windows perfectly stacked up a slender concrete shaft, has made it both an architectural icon and a lightning rod for criticism. Designed by Raphael Vignoli and completed in 2015, 432 Park Avenue is a study in vertical simplicity. Inspired by a trash can designed by Danish architect Arne Jacobsen, the building's stark, modernist aesthetic stands in bold contrast to the city's historic skyline. The square windows are all the same size, nearly 10 feet by 10 feet, and the building's width remains constant from base to crown. It's so narrow and tall that, when viewed from Central Park or the East River, it can look almost like a giant ruler poking the sky. Inside, the tower was built for the ultra-rich. Units originally sold for tens of millions of dollars, with interiors customized to the buyer's desires. Floor plans offer views in every direction: sunrises over Long Island Sound, sunsets behind the Hudson River. But despite the price, stories from within suggest the tower hasn't been a dream home for everyone. Soon after residents moved in, reports began to emerge about unexpected issues: creaking walls, strange noises, flooding, and even elevator malfunctions during high winds. At such a height, The building sways several feet in the wind, and though it's designed to flex, the sensation can be unsettling. One resident described feeling as if the floor subtly shifted beneath their feet, like living on a luxury ship in the middle of Manhattan. The controversies didn't stop there. In 2021, a group of residents filed a lawsuit against the developers, claiming design flaws and faulty construction had damaged their multi-million-dollar homes. The case shined a spotlight on the disconnect between image and reality, a gleaming symbol of wealth that, behind the scenes, had its share of cracks. And yet, for all its problems, 432 Park Avenue has become a defining part of New York's skyline. It represents the arrival of super slender towers, those impossibly tall, pencil-thin skyscrapers made possible by modern engineering and deep-pocketed investors. It's a monument not to public life, but to exclusivity, privacy, and vertical luxury. There are also whispered stories like the one about a mystery buyer who purchased an entire floor and hasn't been seen since. Some speculate it's a royal family. Others say the unit is a safe haven, filled with priceless art, sealed off from the world. There's no proof, but in a building designed to vanish into the clouds, secrets seem to rise with every floor. .432 Park Avenue doesn't try to charm. It commands. It's a symbol of ambition, of excess, of modern wealth in its purest, most minimalist form. Love it or hate it, the tower has reshaped the skyline and the conversation about what a skyscraper really means in 21st century New York. At 427 meters, or 1,401 feet, One Vanderbilt is one of the newest giants to rise into New York City's skyline. Opened in 2020, it's not just a modern skyscraper, it's a strategic and symbolic addition to Midtown Manhattan, standing right next to the historic Grand Central Terminal. Designed by Cone Peterson Fox, One Vanderbilt isn't shaped like a traditional glass box. Instead, it tapers as it rises, with staggered setbacks that give it a dynamic silhouette, one that complements the surrounding skyline rather than competing with it. The facade, made of terracotta and glass, was intentionally crafted to reflect both the future and the past. In a city that constantly rebuilds, One Vanderbilt attempts to respect what came before it. The tower was developed by SL Green Realty and quickly became one of the most valuable commercial properties in the city. Major tenants like TD Bank, Carlyle Group, and law firms moved in, drawn by the location and the amenities. But this building wasn't just meant for those who work inside. Its public observation deck summit One Vanderbilt has become a new destination for visitors seeking surreal views and immersive art experiences. With mirrored floors and 360-degree panoramas, it offers one of the most dramatic visual encounters with New York's skyline. But One Vanderbilt also plays a quiet yet vital infrastructural role. Part of the agreement that allowed it to be built taller than standard zoning permitted included massive investments into the public transit system. Developers spent over $200 million to improve the nearby subway stations and create new access points to Grand Central. It's one of the rare supertalls in New York whose foundation includes not just steel and concrete but civic cooperation. behind the glamour, some intriguing stories have emerged. During the final phases of construction, workers reported odd drafts and sudden wind tunnels forming within the structure, long before the building was enclosed. Some claimed it was due to unique air currents swirling between the tower and nearby landmarks, while others jokingly blamed the ghosts of Grand Central, disturbed by new construction on sacred ground. Though no hauntings were confirmed, the story spread through the crew. There's also a lesser-known feature on the upper floors, a private dining room with views directly into the spires of the Chrysler Building in Empire State. It's said that a table up there is always kept unreserved for a mystery guest with ties to the building's earliest investors. Whether that's true or not remains a mystery, but the rumor adds to the mystique of a skyscraper born in the 21st century but built with an old-school aura of secrecy and power. One Vanderbilt may be sleek and new, but it fits into the city's story like it's always been there. It doesn't try to erase New York's history, it stands beside it, quite literally. Tall, bold, and undeniably modern, it bridges eras. A tower not just of steel and glass, but of vision and respect. At 435.3 meters, or 1,428 feet, 111 West 57th Street isn't just one of the tallest buildings in New York City, it's also the slenderest skyscraper in the world. Its height-to-width ratio is an astonishing 24:1, making it a bold, vertical line edged into the skyline over Central Park. But behind that razor-thin profile lies a story filled with music, ambition, and quiet controversy. This architectural marvel sits on what was once the site of the Steinway Hall, home to the legendary Steinway & Sons Piano Company. The original building, completed in 1925, became a gathering place for world-famous pianists and composers. Rather than erasing that legacy, the developers decided to incorporate it. The base of the new tower includes the preserved facade and interiors of the original Steinway Hall, carefully restored to keep the cultural spirit of the site alive. Designed by Shop Architects and developed by JDS Development Group and Property Markets Group, the tower's design is as striking as its scale. Clad in terracotta, bronze, and glass, the exterior shimmers in the changing light, blending Art Deco elegance with modern minimalism. From certain angles, the building almost disappears, so narrow and reflective it looks like a phantom in the sky. Inside, it's a palace in the clouds. Each residence occupies either a full floor or more, offering panoramic views of Central Park to the north and the Manhattan skyline to the south. Prices for units easily run into the tens of millions, with penthouses reportedly topping $100 million. These are not just homes, they're status symbols. But life inside the world's skinniest tower isn't without whispers. Stories emerged during construction that the building swayed noticeably in high winds, more so than even the average super tall. Though this was expected and carefully engineered, it became a talking point. Some visitors described unsettling creaks and subtle movements on stormy days. Engineers assure that these motions are well within safety limits, but still, the myth of the dancing tower lives on. There are also rumors of unfinished or barely used residences purchased as investment properties or safety assets by global elites who rarely, if ever, step inside. It's been nicknamed the Ghost Tower by some New Yorkers, with stories of empty hallways, dark windows, and a hush that lingers over what should be vibrant, lived-in spaces. One myth says a custom Steinway piano was delivered to one of the highest floors by hoisting it up the exterior with cranes and winches, just to avoid scratching the walls of the interior elevator. No photos exist, but the idea captures the surreal level of wealth and precision that surrounds this building. (111) West 57th Street doesn't try to blend in. It pierces the sky with quiet confidence, fusing the past of a musical landmark with the ambitions of modern luxury. It's a building of extremes, thin as a needle, tall as dreams, and wrapped in the echoes of a piano hall that once filled the space with sound. In a city that's always reaching higher, this tower doesn't just reach, it dares. At a staggering 472.4 meters, or 1,550 feet, Central Park Tower is not only the second tallest building in New York City, it is the tallest residential building on Earth. Rising above Midtown Manhattan along the edge of Billionaires Row, it is a glass and steel symbol of extreme height and elite exclusivity. This is not a tower made for the masses. It was designed for the few. Developed by Excel and designed by Adrian Smith and Gordon Gill Architecture, the same firm behind the Burj Khalifa Central Park Tower, was completed in 2020 after nearly a decade of planning and construction. Its facade is sleek, reflective, and nearly seamless, designed to vanish into the sky. From a distance, the tower resembles a shimmering monolith, towering above Central Park like a sentinel. The building's design intentionally places the residential floors higher than any others in the city. The lowest apartments begin at around 300 meters in height, which means even the cheapest units are far above the rooflines of most skyscrapers. The views from these floors offer an unobstructed panorama of the park, the rivers, and the full spread of Manhattan's skyline. Living here is like floating in a glass observatory. What makes the building even more unique is its secretive base. Hidden inside the lower floors is the exclusive Nordstrom flagship store, which helped anchor the project financially. Above it, and nearly invisible to the public, is the Central Park Club, a private amenity space reserved for residents. Spread across multiple floors, it features a ballroom, a cigar lounge, indoor and outdoor pools, a fitness center, and fine dining by Michelin-starred chefs. Access is restricted, and very little imagery of these spaces has ever been made public. The tower's history is already dotted with intrigue. Units have been quietly bought by international billionaires, hedge fund managers, and unnamed LLCs. Many owners are absent year-round, leading locals to nickname it the tallest empty building in the world. Stories circulate about entire floors sitting in darkness for months at a time. Some say there are whole apartments still wrapped in their original plastic coverings, pristine, untouched investments high above the city. Then there's the mystery of the wind. Like other supertalls, Central Park Tower was engineered to sway slightly in high winds, but reports suggest that its height and narrow frame created stronger than expected vortexes during early construction. Rumors spread among construction crews about rogue gusts lifting tarps and sending equipment airborne. One tale claims a steel beam, left on an upper floor overnight, was found the next morning across the street, though officially, nothing was ever confirmed. Even the building's pinnacle has attracted myth. A small spire was originally planned to push the tower even higher, perhaps beyond 1,600 feet, but it was quietly scrapped. Some say it was due to cost. Others whisper it was because of FAA flight path restrictions. Whatever the reason, the decision was never publicly explained, and the tower topped out silently, without ceremony. Today, Central Park Tower remains an enigmatic monument to modern wealth. It doesn't just dominate the skyline, it rewrites the rules of what residential architecture can be. A place where the sky is the floor, privacy is a product, and the city below feels like a distant, forgotten world. Standing at 541.3 meters, or exactly 1,776 feet, One World Trade Center is the tallest building in the Western Hemisphere. But this is not just a skyscraper, it is a monument. Every part of its height, design, and presence tells a story about resilience, remembrance, and the future of New York City. One World Trade Center was built on sacred ground. It stands on the northwest corner of the original World Trade Center site, which was destroyed during the terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001. The decision to rebuild was not just architectural, it was emotional, political, and deeply symbolic. The height of 1,776 feet isn't random, it references the year of American independence, linking the building's purpose to freedom and national identity. Designed by David Childs of Skidmore, Owings and Merrill, construction began in 2006 and was completed in 2014. The tower rises from a 200-foot square base, roughly matching the footprint of the original Twin Towers. The structure gradually transforms into 8 isosceles triangles, forming an elegant glass spire that reflects the sky during the day and glows softly at night. From certain angles, the tower appears to be a perfect obelisk. From others, it almost vanishes into the clouds. Security and symbolism guided every inch of its design. The lower portion of the tower is protected by a blast-resistant concrete base. Its core is reinforced with some of the strongest steel ever used in a high-rise. Yet despite its strength, the building is full of light. Glass walls bring the city in, reminding visitors and workers alike that this is not a fortress, but a place meant to welcome. The One World Observatory, located on floors 100 to 102, is one of the building's most visited features. The elevator ride itself is part of the experience, a 47-second journey through a time-lapse history of New York's skyline. At the top, you are greeted by a panoramic view that stretches for over 50 miles on a clear day. There are stories, some real, some whispered, attached to the tower. One common myth is that no birds fly near it, sensing the energy of the space. Another says that pieces of steel from the original Twin Towers were melted down and used in the new foundation, creating a direct link between past and present. In fact, some steel from Ground Zero was used symbolically during construction, placed in the base of the structure and in memorial spaces nearby. most powerful moments in the building's history came during its topping out ceremony, when a final steel beam was hoisted into place. It had been signed by construction workers, firefighters, survivors, and family members of 9/11's victims. As it rose, an American flag was attached. The moment was broadcast live across the world, a silent salute to both grief and grit. Today, One World Trade Center is a fully functioning office tower, home to major companies like Condé Nast. But more than that, it stands as a statement. It reflects sunlight in the morning, turns gold during sunset, and, at night, becomes a quiet sentinel over Lower Manhattan. It is not a replacement. It is a continuation of spirit, of strength, and of the skyline itself.